Greetings of the day. This is Praneeth, and now I am going to give a quick demonstration on the application I have built for Zithara's task. And if we see in the header, we have a search bar through which we can search the records based on the name of customer or the location in which the customer lives. If I type the name as Kumar, all the records, all the customers who have their name as Kumar are retrieved. If I type the location as Allahabad, then I am going to get all the records, all the customers records whose location is Allahabad. And if we observe right to the search bar, we have a sort button, and using this sort button we can sort the entire data on the basis of date at which the record is entered into the database. So if I click on the sort button, here we can clearly see that the serial number is 1, but after clicking on sort button we can observe the first record in the data is 23. So the entire data gets sorted in order of descending form. In descending form, the data gets sorted. And the other thing is that this application follows the concept of pagination, where each page consists of 20 records at max. That is like each page consists of 20 records, and the next records are shown in successive pages. If we see here, the 20th record is the final record in the first page, and from 21 to 40 these are shown in second page. And also we have two buttons named as previous and next, where clicking on previous will render us to the preceding page, whereas next will render us to the succeeding page. In the first functionality I have to make is creating 50 records in PostgreSQL database using this particular schema. And now if we see PostgreSQL user interface, here the first thing I made is creating a database named Praneeth's project, and under this database I created a table named customer, and I gave the exact schema where the primary key is serial number and all the other things you can see here, and I entered some random values into it. I entered some dummy records into it, and the count is 50. Before going into task 2, we have to do an important thing, that is establishing a connection between application and database. And in order to establish connection between our application and PostgreSQL database, we need to use pool class. The advantage of pool class is that we can establish a connection with PostgreSQL database, and I have gave the credentials and the database with which I am going to interact. Coming to the second task, it is to create a single page application which can display all the records present in the database. But the condition is that we have to only display 20 records per page, and this concept is known as pagination. In order to achieve pagination, I created a component named page, and after that the result is like this, where I am displaying 20 records, and we can see here there are 3 buttons using which we can render to different pages. If we click on next, it is going to render into the next page, and next if we click on the previous, we are going to render into the preceding page. And in order to achieve this mechanism, the component I created is page. Let us discuss on how the data is getting displayed on the web page. The thing is, I made an API using Express framework in JavaScript, and whenever the application hits the endpoint users, then the application is going to give a response of data in JSON format. That's the reason we can see the entire data on the web page. Actually, the entire data present in this particular table is of JSON format. Just it is processed into this kind of format. The third task is to split the timestamp column into 2 different columns named date and time. In order to achieve this, I used the method created at dot to ISO string. This string in general converts the timestamp into general standard string format. So the timestamp is different of different data type, whereas we need to process it into a string. So here we are using dot to ISO string, and it will convert it into a standard string. Now if we see here, if we observe here, it is a combination of date and time as well. So we need to split it into two different strings, where one string is of date and the other string is consisting of time. In order to do that, we are using a split method. Split method generally splits a string into two different strings when the character is found. Here we can see the character mentioned in split method is t. So whenever the the character t is found, then it will be splitting that particular string into two different halves. Here we can see after that, after splitting these after splitting the particular string into two different strings, these two different strings are stored in a new array, and in order to access them, we are using access of we are using the index of that new array. In this way, I splitted the timestamp into two different columns. Here we can see after splitting the timestamp column into two different columns, date and time, the end result is in this type, where date is separate column and time is separate column. They consist of the time and date at which the record is created. Here we can see 2012 May 18th, and the time at which it is created is 3 o'clock. In this way, the time and date columns are separated. The fourth task is to create a search functionality through which we can search the user records by name or location. That is, if the name or location hits of a customer hits, then the particular details of customer should be retrieved. And if we see our web page, then if I type name as Patel, then all the records whose name is Patel will be retrieved. And also if I type a location as Mumbai, then all the records whose location is Mumbai will be retrieved. In this way, our web page works in accordance of search functionality. And in order to achieve this search functionality, I used a component search. In the search, whenever the user enters a search key, suppose if the search key is Patel, then it is taken as search query, and the Patel is converted into lowercase, and also all the names present in customer table are first converted into lowercase. And now we will see if the name matches, or else we will go to location column and all the locations in the column are converted into lowercase, and then we will be searching if there is a location named, if there is a location attribute named in the same way. If the name of location or name of customer is same with respect to search query, then we will be retrieving all those records. In this way, the search functionality works. And the final task is to create a sorting functionality on the basis of date or time. So let us go to our application. Here we can see the sort button is placed over here, and the sort button follows all the sorting functionalities. And if we see the data, the first record has serial number 1 and the second record has 2, and so on. But if we click on sort button, we can see some magic happening over here. That is, the first record is having the serial number of 23. So we can see, we can clearly say that whenever we click on sort button, the data is getting sorted on the basis of date or time. If you see here, it is of 1st January, 5th January 2023, whereas the second record is of 2022. The sorting follows descending order, where the records that are entered recently into the database are shown at the top, and the olders are shown at the bottom of the table. In this way, the sorting function works and the sorting function is achieved.